Hi, my name's Tami Taylor. I facilitate the women's support group with Reclaim. I have had 33 years of experience with addiction. I married my first addict when I was 18 years old, thought I could fix him. My mother told me I could fix him. We were married for 23 years and in and out of rehab, and the addiction got worse, and so did the violence. We finally divorced, and I was single for 4 years, went through lots of self-improvement and knew that I had my head on straight and was ready to meet a new man, and married my second addict. I know what addiction's like. Do you ever feel so hopeless that no matter what you do to fix the situation, no matter what you say, no matter how clean you keep the house, no matter how much weight you lose, no matter how perfect your body is, it's still not enough, and your husband still continues to look at porn, to go to other women. I've been there too. I know that feeling. I know what it feels like to feel so defeated in a marriage with an addict, and to feel like if I could just get him to a place where I could pass him off and they could fix him, then everything would be okay. And what I know from working in addiction and being a part of addiction for 33 years is I finally came to the realization that I'm not his addiction. I've asked Janel to join me today to share with you her experience of the women's group, this women's support group. Okay, so you shared something in group a while back. I call it the stabber analogy. Can you share a little bit about that? I see this impact the women, and I'd like you to share.
Well, I think when you finally get to a place where you're ready to reach out for help, you go to the resources that you had available. For me, it was I went to one of our church leaders, and initially I was told, I was given a great deal of empathy, and they pulled my husband in, and it's like, how can we help you guys? What can we do? And we were given a lot of different resources, which was fantastic. And then what I noticed is they continued to work with my husband. And at one point, I was brought in and asked, "How is your husband doing?"
And nobody was checking on you.
And
right?
that was the
right,
thing. Is
yeah.
I said,
Wow.
this is interesting. It's like I found this out, or I figured that this is something that's in our relationship, and I feel like I was stabbed. And everybody rushes over to my spouse who's holding the knife and asks him, "Why did you stab her?" And even in the process, they'll say, "Hey, wife, why don't you get up and come over here and let's help him figure out why he's stabbing people?" While I'm sitting there with my own wound and bleeding out, and there was really nobody to ask, "How are you doing?" And I think as I've continued to live this, what I've learned is he has to go into his own space and get help and healing. And I need to go into my own space and get help and healing.
Because in essence, what you're saying too is in staying in the marriage, you're staying with your stabber.
Right.
And there's a lot of shame that comes with knowing you're going to get stabbed again, more than likely.
And that's kind of the thing. It's like you get kind of treated like, well, he has this thing. I mean, I don't know how many people are like, you knew he had it before you got married and you still married him? Well, yeah. Because I naively believe that
he's a great guy and he
he's a
has
great
all these
guy.
good things going for him
And
too. And I can fix him.
Yeah.
If we just have sex, it'll take care of the whole problem
Right?
too, right?
Because that is how great that will be. We'll just fix it. I think when you finally decide that, I'm not going to keep the secret anymore. And even if it's controlled, we have some women in our group where their family members don't still know.
Exactly. It's that shame-based.
Right. But they come into a space, and I cannot tell you how healing it is to vocalize something that you think only you think, and to see all these other women's heads nod in agreement.
Well, and you've been there a while now. Isn't it amazing when you see the light goes on moments, and you see something shift? The spirit swarms the room, and you see that shift in the women, that they feel validation that they're not alone.
Like it's interesting to watch the transformation, and I think we all have. Even you as a facilitator, I've seen it where you're not unaffected by the spirit in that room.
Right, no.
And these women come in and they are just, either they're angry or they're just exhausted.
Or bitter.
Or they're just tired. And you can see that over time, having we talk about different principles of letting go and surrendering and self-care, which you would never think that that would be part of
A woman of fixing your man,
fixing your
right?
husband. Like, I think it's so interesting to watch the confused look on some of these women's faces, and myself included, in the beginning when we'd be like, what did you do to take care of yourself today? And
what does that have anything to do with my husband's addiction?
And
right?
they can't think of anything, because when you're in the throes of doing little kids, and what I love the most is this group is not restricted by age. We have women from in their early 20s to women in their 60s, and it's varying degrees of marriage, married for 3 years, married for 20 years, married for 40 years.
Right.
And the emotion is the same.
We even have
board.
single girls.
And we have single
women too.
And it's like the emotion crosses all of those barriers. And I never thought that I'd be able to sit in a room with somebody who was 20 years younger than me or 20 years older than me, and we would be able to feel the same emotion and support each other in that same thing and have so much in common.
Well, and the spirit just swarms the room when you can look at somebody after you hear their story and be like, I see you and I hear you. That. I know that.
Yeah. Or it's even and then this, and then this, and you're like, oh, you felt that too? You feel that too? Oh, me too.
That's my story you're telling now. Yeah.
And just to see that the trials across the board, I mean, it gives you hope. I think sometimes the women show up and they think, my story is going to be worse than everybody else's. And we, for the first couple weeks, sometimes you want to just wear your scars out, and you just want to kind of show everybody how different your story is, and how nobody's and how nobody's compares to it. And then the more that you listen and the more that we learn and you're in that space together, you actually start to hear and feel, oh my gosh, we're all in this fight together.